Well, a massive welcome to everyone. It's Phil here in the Digital DJ Tips studio with a live broadcast on Tuesday as ever. It's Tuesday Tips Live. We are live on the network. If you are not a member of our DJ network, Global DJ Network, where have you been? We are live there right now. If you are not a member of the Global DJ Network, then you will miss out on these at some point in the future because this is where they're all going to be happening. So if you're not watching over there, I'll tell you how you can join up in just a second. If you're watching on our Facebook page, welcome, good to have you here. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, it's good to have you here as well. Wherever you are tuning in, it's Tuesday Tips Live from Digital DJ Tips. I'm Phil Morse, I'm the founder of Digital DJ Tips, also the author of the best-selling book on Amazon on how to DJ rock the dance floor. Our job here at Digital DJ Tips is to help you become better DJs and better DJ producers, and we do that in all kinds of ways via digitaldjtips.com, via our free training, which is on our YouTube channel and on our website, and of course via our DJ courses. We've got a big new DJ course coming tomorrow, which I'll tell you about a little bit later. But today it's all about how to get paid what you're worth for your DJing. So if you are new to us and this is something that you've never seen before, what we do is have about a half-hour show with me kind of chatting through some teaching points and you feeding back. I keep my trusty iPad here so I can get your live comments. Already comments coming in from Chris, says hi Phil. PMG says nice Denon. Avinav says another Denon show. No, actually it's not. I've just got this here because we've been messing around with it. And it's a nice bit of eye candy, but we're not talking about the Denon stuff today. Richard says hello, David says hi. Sound Services says hi my man from Anthony in Murray. So good to have you here. Hello to Tony on Facebook, to George on YouTube, and lots more of you. Right, so as I'm saying, if you are new to this, you can talk, you can chat away, just ask any questions that you want to ask about the subject underneath the Facebook streams or the YouTube stream. But also, if you're watching this on the replay on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever, and you're thinking this is going on a bit, this isn't a 5-minute video, it isn't. This is a live show. You're watching a recording of a live show, and it's infinitely inferior when you're watching the recording. So you know what you've got to do. Hit the subscribe, hit the follow, hit the show me posts first on Facebook, hit the bell so that you get notified when we go live on YouTube. And that way, when we go live, you can join in, and it's a live show and you can be part of it. Because yes, it can be a bit tedious watching me going through all this and not being able to feed back live, which is what it's all about. If you want to watch pre-recorded stuff, we have thousands and thousands of pre-recorded videos that teach you all kinds of things on the show. Okay, that's what it's all about. If you are new, welcome. If you are existing, good to have you back. And if you're one of our members, especially over on the Global DJ Network, then you know when you get on a plane and they say, and to all our VIP members, a very special welcome. Well, to all our Global DJ Network members, a very special welcome. I told you that I would let you know how you can join that. You just go to our Facebook page, ironic I know, click the message button on our Facebook page at facebook.com/digitaldjtips. Click the message button and type the word join and we'll get you into that group. Okay, right, we're talking today about how to earn what you're worth in your DJing. It's that question that comes up again and again. If you think that $50 DJs are kind of like taking all the money out of it and that you're unable to earn what you think you're worth, then this is for you. You know, if you've ever sat back and imagined, what if I could earn really good money out of my DJ? Maybe I could buy some gear like this wonderful Denon DJ Prime 4, right? Maybe people would look at me different. My family, maybe my friends who say, oh, you're just playing at this. Maybe they'd look at me a bit more seriously if I could actually earn some money at this. If you've ever thought, you know, I could maybe get another job that doesn't pay as much, but that I enjoy more, which will give me more time for my DJing and make up the difference with my DJing income. Whatever it is, I'm sure you've imagined what it must be like, and I'm sure you've looked at DJs in the clubs and bars and lounges in your town or in your neighborhood and thought, look, they're not doing anything much different to me. And I know they're getting paid well for this because I see their name around, I know what's going on. How can I get there? How can I be there? Well, look, I can't give you a magic wand in a half-hour broadcast, but what I can give you is loads of tips. We have a full training program, a full coaching course for people with 3 hours of training that tells them how to do this stuff. So look, I can't even touch on it in like a 20-minute, half-hour broadcast, but what I can do is give you some of the pointers. So if you're kind of like scared to ask for more money, if you don't know what to say to people, if you don't know how to present yourself right, if you've got this niggling doubt that says I'm not worth it, hopefully I can help you with some of that stuff today. So that's what we're talking about today. Just before we kick off though, to remind you, you can ask It's live. I've got all your comments here. I want to say hello to a few people who are already chipping in here. Kevin in Kansas, Brian who says hello. In Indianapolis, PMG Reigns says, I need this course. Are you me? Says, sup everyone. Martin on Facebook, greetings my fellow DJs. And lots of you just chatting to each other. I love to see you chatting to each other. Saves me the job. Another important video, says Kratik. Well, we think so. We try and make stuff to help people. Why is this not sold in Spain? Says Octavio. It's not sold anywhere at the moment, Octavio. It's not available as far as we know. We've got this review item here. Phil is better than porn, says Wooter. Well, what if I did it naked, eh? What would that be like? Don't even ask. So hello from South Africa, says Creative. Cliff says hello. Lots of you commenting. Mark says I'm listening in, but I can't comment because I'm building a bed. So there you go. So it's always good to know that people are getting on with their lives while tuning in. Right, let's get started. We're talking about earning what you're worth in your DJing. I think we all want to earn more money from our DJing, don't we? I've just given you some scenarios as why you might want to do this. And I'm sure you're nodding along thinking, yep, that's me. But look, what I'm about to teach you is based around one absolute truth, okay? Which is, people will never pay you what you're worth. Never. They're not going to pay you what you're worth. They're going to pay you what they think you are worth. They're only ever going to pay you what they think you are worth. This is a fundamental thing to get into your head, because that means the only way to get more money for your DJing is to make people think you're worth what you're actually worth, right? So that's what this is all about today. It's about, because you can affect how they think about you. Of course you can affect how they think about you, but they're never going to pay you what you're worth or what you think you're worth. They're going to pay you what they think you're worth. So that's your job. You know, this is something that you have to get into your head, or you will be charging $50 or worried about the DJs who are, or even doing it for free, or even doing it for beer, because you're not convincing them that you're worth anything more. So why would they pay you anything more? It'd be ridiculous. I'd never pay you more than I think you're worth. I'd never buy anything for more than I think it's worth, right? So your job when you're selling yourself is to convince people of your true worth, right? So I'm going to talk you through 6 points today which will help you to understand this. So point number 1 is be worth it. You've got to be worth it. If you're a mediocre DJ, no one's going to pay you well for it. Last week, if you didn't see last week's broadcast, it did really, really well. It was called How to Make Time for Your DJing, even when you've got a day job, right? Most of us have got day jobs, right? This is my day job. It's a pretty cool one, but hey, I've got one. How to make time for your DJing when you've got a day job. And you can watch the replay of that on Facebook and YouTube. So one of the things we talked about there was that you don't only want to be practicing DJing, you don't only want to be on the gear doing the stuff, but you also want to be learning about DJing. You also want to be filling in the gaps. You also want to be improving, right? And we had a really good conversation about how important that is. Of course, we sell DJ courses, but you can learn about DJing from watching documentaries on Netflix, from reading books. We've got a couple of those as well. You can, anyone who can help you fill in the gaps, help you fill in the knowledge, you can learn it by just following great DJs on Spotify and listening to their music through the years. But the point is, you've got to always be improving, right? So that's one way of improving fast. But however you do it, unless you're improving in your DJing all the time, you're actually going backwards. So when we hear older DJs saying, oh God, I've been DJing for 20 years and now there's kids coming up and they're taking my gigs and my money. Frankly, if a kid can come up and take your gigs and your money, you ain't relevant anymore, dude. You've got to keep improving, yeah? You don't get to a point and then stay there, because if you stop improving, guess what? You start falling off. So the point is that you've got to be worth the money you're asking for. No one ever paid great money to a mediocre DJ, and to stay at the top, you've got to keep improving. That's just the truth of it. The very best DJs are constantly reinventing themselves, constantly getting new technology, getting into new music, improving their techniques, improving how they perform, and improving how they promote themselves, the 5 big areas of DJing that we teach. If you're not doing that, then stop here. You ain't ever going to charge decent money for your DJing, and what's more, you don't deserve to. Sorry, it's a harsh truth. So look, point number 1 is be worth it. Be worth the big money. The DJs at the top are there because there's room at the top for great DJs, right? And I'm not talking the Hardwells and the touring DJs of this world who are exceptional. What I'm talking about is the DJs at the top in your town, in your neighborhood, in your city, who are playing the gigs that you see them playing when you go out at the weekend and you think, I want to be there, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the places that you can reach in the next 6 months, in the next year, in the next 2 years, if you apply yourself. That's what we're talking about here. So point number one, if you want to get paid what you're worth, be worth it. Keep improving, take courses, read books, hang out with other DJs, copy mixes that you like, learn how DJs do it, get into production, learn how to use a new piece of gear, play more gigs that scare you so you learn something from them, but keep improving. Without an open mind and without improving, you ain't going to get better and you ain't going to be able to command the money. So before we move on to point two, we've got 6 points for you. I just want to see some comments that you might be giving us down here. And I do apologise. I mean, they scroll past so quickly. It's like a Twitter feed. I just can't, I can't feature everyone, but I will read out ones which you like. Creative says, ultimate DJ trainer community right here. So you are in this community. The Global DJ Network at the moment, commenting Creative. Show what you're worth and then some, says Mario Luna. By the way, Mario Luna knows this stuff. Mario Luna is a highly successful DJ in the States. Daniel says, what's up? Uncle says, facts. F Swift says, club DJing is different to mobile DJing. With club DJing today, it's more about your following, more a brand thing than DJing ability. F Swift, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, and you'll know why by the end of these points. Club DJing's always been about that. All DJing's about that, but we'll get on to that. I do thank you for contributing. I wish there were more music documentaries, says Are You Me? Yeah, that's true. Netflix is a bit slim on them, but if you go Googling, you'll find them. There's some great ones on Vimeo. Okay, so yeah, lots and lots of you commenting there. I'm going to move on because I've got 6 points I want to get through today. Oh, by the way, if you want to join the Global DJ Network, which is our private network for DJs by DJs, go to our Facebook page, click message and type the word join. Do it anytime you want, right? And we'll let you in. Right, we're talking about how to get paid what you're worth. So be worth it, right? It's true. Second one, mix in the right circles. Mix in the right circles. So what do I mean by this? Right, so I've got a friend, Paddy. Nice to see you, Paddy. I'm sure he's not tuned in. He's far too busy. Paddy works with a consultancy that help massive companies, like really massive companies, like international companies that make airplanes and warships, and these are big companies, these are serious people, and he works in consultancy. He gets taken into these companies to try and sort stuff out, sort a production line out, sort a product out. Paddy is an extremely influential guy, and he works with some of the biggest people in industry in this whole wide world. So Paddy was my friend when I was in my 20s, and I was talking to him about his world, the lawyers and the accountants and the people making decisions that cost 5,000 jobs here and 10,000 jobs there, people who close whole factories. And I'm like, Paddy, I'm just a little DJ. I could never relate to these people, and I don't know how you do. How do you do it? What are these people like? And he's like, Phil, they're just like you and me. The decisions they make at work are just like you and me. It's just they've got an extra naught or two on the end of everything. Every decision they make is 10, 100, 1,000 times more influential. But trust me, they're no cleverer, they're no brighter. And I'm like, well, how do they get there? And he's like, Phil, it's all about the circles. It all starts at school. When you mix with the right people, it all starts with your background, and it starts with the jobs that are available to you and the universities you go to. And yes, you can move up into these kind of stratospheres or not, but at the end of the day, the people are the same. So that stuck with me for years. And I realized that it's exactly the same in any entrepreneurial pursuit, including DJing. It's who you mix with that counts. Now, I'm not asking you to suddenly change your upbringing or change the school you went to. It doesn't matter. It's DJing, right? There's a level playing field here. But what you've got to do is, instead of kicking around with the other $50 DJs, respectfully, who are just like you, and I'm not saying that is where you're at, but follow me through. Instead of kicking around with those folks, get yourself a better circle of people who are more aspirational, who are doing more interesting things. Hang out with the local councillor who drinks in the same pub as you. Learn about how the council works. Hang out with the hotel owner who might be able to give you gigs. Hang out with the entrepreneur who's doing awesome stuff in the gym or the diet area in your town. Hang out with people who might not want to know you. In other words, get yourself a circle of friends who are cleverer than you, brighter than you, doing more interesting things than you. Again, respectfully. Why? Because very interesting research says things like you are gonna earn the average of the 5 or 6 people who you hang out with the most of their incomes. So if you take the 5 or 6 people who you're filling your life with and giving your time to and hanging out with and sharing ideas with, then add up their incomes, divide it by the number of people. That's what you're likely to earn in the medium term. So if you're hanging out with people who are always whinging that $50 DJs are coming after their jobs and that life's really hard and they're not getting anywhere and, oh, sod it, I'm just going to go and watch TV and guess what? you're going to be pulled back by those people, not inspired by them. So look, I've just given you one scenario, and your life might be very, very different where you live. But the point is, if you can find inspiring people, if you can find people who are doing things you admire, whether directly or indirectly connected with the work that you do, then you might just find that some of that rubs off on you. You might just find that they can introduce you to people who can help, just like you can introduce them to the other people in your circle who can help. If you hang out with people who excite you, you'll find that there might be a naught added onto the end of everything you do as well. And the other thing is, if you start to move in circles that are just a little bit higher, if you push a little bit harder than where you are now, you'll suddenly find that what you thought you were worth as a DJ is nothing to them, nothing to those people. They were like, that's peanuts. You might actually find that you can ask for the biggest amount in your head, and it's just like, yeah, that sounds all right. Because guess what? When the local council book DJs for their event that's sponsored by the government that is in that awesome festival space in your town, and the residents that pop up on that bill, you think, how the hell did they do that? I'll tell you what, one, they're getting paid really well, and two, they did it by knowing the right people. So yes, it's all about who you know, but it's not about something you can't change. Of course you can change who you know. Go out of your comfort zone. Ask people out for lunch who might say no, because they might just say yes, and then you have a real good contact in somewhere that you didn't have a contact in the first place. And this stuff's hard. This stuff isn't easy. But guess what? Getting paid top dollar for DJing isn't easy. But if you sit there saying the whole thing's falling out from under my feet because of these $50 DJs, it isn't, and there is stuff you can do, and these are some of the hard things you can do. So find yourself a circle of people who are a little bit higher than your current circle. I'm not saying ditch your friends. I'm just saying hang out. You know, I'll give you an example. I live in Gibraltar, which is very small. I get to meet some amazing people here who really inspire me. There is an estate agent who sells multi-million-dollar properties and puts on events in the local social scene where he gets people to they'll be in a really expensive bar and they'll get someone to pay to have a cocktail named after them. I saw someone pay £800, which is like $1,000, to have a cocktail named after them last Monday at a charity event that this estate agent dude put on. And all this money went to charity. I bumped into him today. So we raised £8,000, which is about $10,000 for really worthwhile charities. I count him as a friend. I've got another guy, Andre, hello Andre if you're watching, who is one of the world's leading internet email marketing experts who I count as a friend. We go out, we don't even talk about internet marketing, even though it's something I do and he does. We tend to talk about food and stuff and where we travel to and stuff like that. But Andre is one of my friends. And I could list a few more for you. These are all people I've made an effort to get to know here. They're nothing to do with DJing, but guess what? These people inspire me. These people give me ideas that I wouldn't have otherwise. And these people do know venue owners, right? So if they want a DJ, oh, I know a guy who's, no, he's not a pretender. This guy knows his stuff. Let me introduce you to him. You can do the same, trust me. So I don't want to go on any longer about that one, but look, just look at who you're hanging out with. Are they inspiring you or are they dragging you down? And if they're dragging you down, have a look at that Facebook list of people you friended and ask them out for dinner or lunch or something and try and get to know some people who are a bit more inspiring. I think I've gone on about that one for long enough. Let me just read out a few more things. Set a higher standard and hang out, ask questions, seek others who are at your level. By the way, I've got to say, this is a good place. If you're in a place where you just don't know anyone and you don't think you can approach people, this is a great place. The Global DJ Network has got DJs at your level, below your level and above your level in it. You can go in there and you can meet people. It's a private community and it's free, by the way. This is all free. These people are going to help you. I mean, Mario's been commenting here. He's in the Global DJ Network and he's a very successful DJ, one of thousands in there. Go in there, meet people in there, find people who can inspire you all around the world, make connections, ask about what you're thinking, ask about the things you're trying, ask about what works and what doesn't, share your triumphs and your trials. This is a great place to do exactly what I just said, by the way. Thank you for someone who just reminded me about that. Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense. It's a great place to do it. This is so true, Phil. You are who you hang out with, says Cliff. Trouble is with local bars and clubs, if you ask for too much, they just get someone for free or cheaper. Mick, this whole broadcast is to help you conquer that mindset and find ways of beating it, because the people playing the best gigs in your town, Mick, are getting paid a lot more than you're getting paid. This is about getting you to their level, and it's going to differ depending on what town you're in. Of course it is, but this is about getting you to be earning the most in your town, and it's a skill that can be taught. Very inspiring, says Jay Hollyoak. Thank you, over on YouTube. Who just received their Prime 4. A lot of you are excited about the Prime 4, says the DJ stuff. Thank you for what you do. You care and it shows, says DJ No Etal Ever. Sorry for obviously pronouncing that wrong. Right, okay, so people saying I'm sending requests for this group and they're still pending. They're all approved manually, so that's why. Right, listen, let me move on because as always it's taking a lot longer to get through them, but hey, as long as it's all right with you. Number 3 in getting paid what you're worth. Number 3 of our 6 points. Ignore your feelings. So what do I mean by ignore your feelings? Well, you might feel scared. You might feel fearful that people are going to say, I'm not paying you that. You might feel like you're not worth it. You're just a little DJ in a little world and you're not ever worth the big money. You might feel that once you hit a certain level, that's the end of your world and anything above that is someone else's world and you don't deserve to be there. Guess what, Buttercup? That bunch of feelings, that bunch of little voices saying, I'm not worth it, I'm scared, what if I say no, what if I fail at getting the gig, what if I fail at DJing, what if I fail full stop? That bunch of feelings is completely separate from what you're really worth. What you're worth is objective. What you're worth exists. What you're worth is a combination of how much you understand the DJ gear, how great your music is, how good your techniques are, how well you play out, how well you promote yourself. That is what you're worth. That exists, and it doesn't matter what this bunch of feelings tell you about that, it doesn't change that. So therefore, ignore them. When you're going into a situation where you could get a gig, do not let these feelings, by the way, we don't always feel like that all the time, right? We have up days and down days. We have days when we think we're great and days when we don't think we're great. But guess what? Recognizing that and not letting those feelings stop you asking for what you're worth is absolutely essential. Because guess what? No one can see those feelings. No one can see how you're feeling. No one can hear that little voice. And that little voice is not real. What you're worth is real, and they are not related. So just because you're constantly putting yourself down in your head, it doesn't mean that you're any worse a DJ than you were yesterday when you weren't putting yourself down. So ignore your feelings because, as I say, they're just going to stop you asking for what you're worth. And believe me, DJs all the way to the top have exactly the same feelings. They do. So don't think that you're alone and don't think that it kind of goes away. It never goes away and it's very normal. So let's move on. The next one is perfect your pitch. Perfect your pitch. This means when you open your mouth and start talking about what you do, what comes out should sound good, it should inspire people, it should make them excited, and it should make them want to book you. What's different about you? What's your passion? What do you bring that other people don't bring? What got you into this? Why did you get into this? This can be practiced. You can practice this in the mirror. You can practice this on your phone. You can look back at it and say, is that boring or is that... and you can get better at it. And if you can get to the point where if someone says to you, so tell me about what you do, you can say what you do without it sounding like you've practiced it, then hey, you've mastered it, you've perfected your pitch. But guess what? This doesn't come naturally. I remember going to a business, because I take coaching as well, I go to coaching sessions. I went to a business coaching course in London, and they went around the room and they said, tell us what you do. And I was like, oh, I run an online training company, and we sell video training, but it's more than that because we're there helping people, and we have kind of live training as well. So we kind of help people. It's a bit like a school, but you don't have to be there. And the tutor was like, who knew? The tutor he knew everyone in the room because he'd invited us onto the course, right? He was like, Phil, stop there. Phil, you're a DJ. DJing's cool. When someone says, what do you do? Your mouth opens and you say, I am a DJ. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am, aren't I? He's like, yeah. And guess what? There's everyone in this room who wishes they could open their mouth and say something as cool as that. And you've just gone, I'm a bit of an internet training guy with... He's like, no one cares about that. They turned off at internet. Say, I'm a DJ and I run the biggest DJ school in the world. How many people are in your school? And I was like, 20,000, 21,000. How many countries? 163. Does anyone else have a school that big? Don't think so. Right, Phil, you're a DJ and you run the biggest DJ school in the world. And guess what? That's what I've said every time anyone's asked me what I do ever since then. If I can get that wrong, and I've been doing this for 10 years and I've been DJing for 15 years, trust me, you're getting it wrong as well. What is it you do? What is it that makes you passionate? What is it that's different about your DJing? Write it down, practice it in the mirror, and when someone asks you, make sure that when you say it, it doesn't sound like you've practiced it. It's going to make all the difference. If you can't tell people what you do, if you can't communicate what you do, how can you charge top money for it? Remember, people will only pay you what they think you're worth. You've got to know what you're worth, and you've got to know how to tell them what you're worth. And the only way you're going to do that is by practicing. All of this can be practiced, folks, which is why it's really important not to give in and say, oh, $50 DJs. Listen, the $50 DJs aren't practicing, or guess what? They wouldn't be charging $50, they'd be charging $500. And that should be you. Right, let's go back to the comments before we move on to number 5. So that's practice or perfect your pitch. I've been asking this for a long time, says JSB 360. So I'm just trying to see what you have been asking, JSB 360, by scrolling up. The DJ stuff just says, yeah. I'm just going to cover off a couple of questions that people are asking about, a couple about this, saying, is this different to the Student Hub? Student Hub is our private group for students only who are on our courses, Cliff. This one is for everyone who follows our community. So there you go, there's a difference. Sadiq Cat says, buttercup, lol. Yeah, these are the words I need at the moment, says AC1 Music. Thank you. So yeah, a few of you kind of like resonating with this, which is nice to see. I'm having a hard time finding anywhere to play music loudly in my town full stop, says Romaldo. Well, look, move to a bigger town with louder sound systems. No, I'm being a bit flippant, but hey. All right then, look, let's move on because as I say, we're taking a bit longer than I would like to. So number 5 out of our 6 ways of getting paid more is learn to negotiate. Learn to negotiate. You've got yourself in front of someone who can potentially pay you for a gig, and you ought to know how to handle that situation. So look, there's 2 things here. Number 1 is you ought to be listening for most of that time, not talking, because there's lots of reasons why they want a DJ. And unless you know the real reasons, the real pain points in their need to have this conversation with you, they don't want to have the conversation with you any more than you want to have it with them. It's an uncomfortable situation for everyone. Just like, you hear job interviewers, right? They say, people think it's really scary having a job interview, but we hate it as well, right? It's the same thing. So what you've got to do is listen, and you've got to ask questions, and you've got to find out why they want a DJ. It could be the last DJ disappeared with all the money. It could be the last DJ played crap music. It could be the last DJ attracted the wrong crowd. It could be that they want a DJ, they've never had one, and they've no idea what to expect. It could be that the boss of the person you're talking to says, get a DJ in here on Friday nights or you're fired. There could be a million reasons, but unless you know what those reasons are, then you won't know how to approach telling them why you're the right person for it. Because if someone says to you, the last DJ used to play what they wanted, they used to turn up when they wanted, they used to get drunk on the job, and while they did a really good job of filling the dance floor, to be honest with you, we don't really care about having a full dance floor. What we care about is a happy club with people buying drinks and just chilling and socializing with a DJ knowing that. Then you can say, well, you know what? I don't drink and I pride myself on being on time. To me, it's a job, so I turn up on my own, I leave on my own, I do the job. And I understand that you're a bar with food and with a seating area, and you've got a small dance floor, and you'd like to get people dancing, but there's a balance. I get all that. I think I'm your person. That's a very different pitch than if they say to you, the last DJ played house music really well, he was brilliant or she was brilliant, but they left. I want someone to come in and just do exactly the same thing. Then your questions are going to be, okay, tell me a bit more about that DJ. When you say they played house, what kind of house did they play? What did you like about them? Was there anything you didn't like about them when you look back? And then you're going to be able to say, okay, I can do that. Yep, I can do that. No problem. I understand what you want. I can do it. I'm your man or your woman. You see, there's 2 very different answers there in the same interview, but you only found out the one to give by listening. So really, negotiating is all about listening. You should spend the first half of that negotiation just listening, writing down points or noting points in your head, and then constructing how you're going to approach telling them how you can help or not help. Because another thing about negotiations is it might turn out this isn't for you, in which case you say, this isn't for me, but I know someone who might be able to do this for you. Let me put you in touch with them or whatever, right? You've got to have the possibility that it's not going to work out, but you're never going to find this stuff out unless you ask people. So that's negotiating. And number 6, which is straight out of the sales training that you will find in everything from selling, telephones to selling life assurance to selling DJing, which is learn to close. And close just means learn to ask for the sale. Learn to say, okay, this is what it's going to cost you. When do we start? If you don't do that, if you don't practice that, if you're not sure about how you're going to do that, you will look at your feet and mumble, and you will snatch defeat from the jaws of victory at the point where you should be saying, got ya, I know what you want and I can do it for you. And again, it's just about practicing. Now I'm going to give you a little takeaway here. This is something that I've shared with some of our inner in a circle before, but I want to share it with you now because this is the close for DJs. This is the thing to say to get the gig. And this is a really good one if they never asked you in the first place. You just managed to get your foot in the door and say, look, I've got an idea for your bar or your club or your venue. I've got an idea. Let me pitch it to you. And they're like, well, I don't even want this DJ, this person. I don't want them. I'm not interested, right? If you've got that conversation and you've got this far, you've done a really good job because they're like, you know what? I'm into this. You've got to say how much it's going to cost them, right? So you might think in that situation when you've kicked the door in, they didn't really want you in the first place, you're going to find it very, very hard to ask for money. There is a much better way of doing it. So let me share that with you now. If you take one thing away from this video, take this away. This is what you say. You say, okay, so you've convinced them that you've got a good idea, right? You say, my fee is $300 a night, but I'm all about value first. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this Friday, as we talked about, and it's going to cost you $1. I need you to pay me because I don't work for free, but hey, you know, it's a joke, right? They're like, okay, fair enough. You're like, it's going to cost you $1. But if you like what you hear, then next time you know my fee. It's $300 a night. Have we got a deal? And they're like, well, what have I got to lose? I'm going to be paying $1 for this person's time, or €1 or £1. So you shake on that, you turn up. Of course, you're going to do a great job. Guess what you've just done? You've just got yourself a gig for $300 a week because they're not going to start renegotiating with you. They've already told you. You've already told them what the price is. It's just a case of at the right point, okay, so next week, same time, yes or no? And if they say yes, great, you've got the gig. Get the paperwork to them, you put the amount in, no need to talk about anything else. So there's just one way of asking for the money at the end of the conversation. There are lots more, of course. As I say, we've got a course, we've got a special coaching program, a 3-hour coaching program, which is only business. There's no gear, none of this cool stuff. It's just literally how to do this stuff. And it goes into a lot more detail about this, but I'll tell you about that another time. But this is basically how I think DJs who feel like they're not getting what they're worth should approach. So let's run over them very quickly. Be worth it. In other words, improve all the time. Mix in the right circles, surround yourself with people who are doing well, who inspire you, not people who moan all the time and you're bored of. Ignore your feelings, they are lying to you. Perfect your pitch. You've got to be able to tell people what you do because they're only going to pay you what they think you're worth, and that is you knowing your worth and you being able to tell them so that they change their view on you. Learn to negotiate, which is basically about listening, and learn to close. In other words, learn to ask for the money, learn to ask for the job, and have tactics for doing that. And if you can apply these things, no, you're not always going to win, but you're much more likely to. And what's more, your self-respect and your view of what you do is going to improve. And when that happens, everything drops into place, trust me. So there we go. That's our how to earn what you think you're worth. Let me move on now and tell you about one more thing, which is this. It's called The Complete DJ and it is launching tomorrow. The Complete DJ is the biggest and best DJ course for anyone who wants to learn to DJ that we've ever launched. It's based on the 5 steps for DJing success in this book. Now, ever since I wrote that book in 2016, people have been telling me that it's changed their DJing lives, that it's a great way to learn, especially people returning to DJing and everything's changed, right? Gear's like this now. Also people who've always wanted to do it but never got round to it, people who are busy with day jobs and stuff who need a really quick way of learning. And new DJs all saying this is awesome, this has really helped me. But I always wanted to do this, which is a course version of it, because this way, you can be looking over my shoulder as I'm using the gear. This way, I can talk you through everything. This way, you can ask questions. This way, you can be part of a group of people who are learning it together. This is awesome. So we've made it. It's called the Complete DJ course. It is the best way to learn DJing. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow as long as you're on our list. You have to be on our list because it's not launching till the summer. So if you want to be part of this early, for our members only, and you want to get it at the kind of price that we only give to our members, you have to be on our list. So just to let you know that. But this is launching tomorrow. I wanted to give you a heads up because it's going to be very busy. It's going to be the biggest DJ course we've ever launched, obviously, because it is the culmination of my life's work. This book changed everything. Well, we now made the course that's going to change everything as well. So it's going to be a busy one. I just wanted you to know about that nice and early. If you are interested, you just got to be on our list. If you get our emails, you're on our list. So we'll let you know about it tomorrow. If not, that's how to get on the list, digitaldjtips.com/join to know about the Complete DJ course when it launches. Right, we're done, folks. So thank you very much. These are always, as I say, they always tend to go a bit longer than I think, but hey, That's always a good thing. But I'm going to hang around and answer some comments, read out some of your shouts and stuff now. So if you have got a bit more time, let's get to it. But if not, get good, get out there and make the moments. I'll see you soon. Right, let's get back to what you're saying. Kyber says, sound advice, Phil. Again, definitely a few pointers here for me. Massive thank you. Thank you, Kyber, over there on YouTube. Good talk, says DJ Doc. So my team are sharing that link with you. So if you're in the comments anywhere and you missed it, it's on the comments. Great point. End it with a scratch, Phil. It's not plugged in. It is plugged in, but there's no audio. Is it okay to have a manager to negotiate on a DJ's behalf, says Soundbug? Well, if you can get one, great, but normally the managers will come and find you when you've got the value that means that their 10% or 15% is worth enough for them to do the work for you, right? So if a manager comes to find you, great, do due diligence and stuff, but generally you can't just go and find a manager because you need to be succeeding by that point. I book my own gigs, says Andy, and I don't go through the middleman. Well, there you go. There's another answer to that. Thank you for that, Andy. I'd buy that for $1, says Matthew. Yeah, why wouldn't you? You know, you're offering your services for free, but making it very clear that you are not free. Well, for $1. So exactly correct what Phil says. Try before you buy, then you can show them what they can expect, says Todd. Local DJs always open and close the night here, says Ali. When I used to run a club, I ran a club for 15 years. We always used to open and close the night, and we used to book guests. I was the promoter as well for the middle. Quite often the guests were like, people were like, will you just get back on the decks because this guest isn't very good. And when we played the whole night, they loved it even more. So, you know, promoting your own gigs and booking yourself is a great way of doing it. I do agree with a lot of what you say, says F Swift, but from the club or promoter's point of view, they're more interested in the sales part for what you bring as a DJ. Well, A, not all of them are, and B, yes, of course they are. You wouldn't book a DJ that actively cleared your dance floors or showed no interest in helping you to fill them, right? And to get people into the venue. So you have to do this stuff. In the book, we talk about promoting yourself as the final chapter, and in the course as well. There's a big part in the course here about promoting yourself. And it's about how to use Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and email lists and your website to get the buzz around you, to get people wanting to come and see you DJ. But it's not an expectation of DJs to completely fill a club. That's ridiculous. A club is there, it's the quality of the club, it's the price of the drinks, it's where the club is, it's the promotion the club itself does, it's the name the club has. All these things also contribute to the success or failure of a venue. It's not totally up to the DJ. The club owner might make you think that because he or she wants you to, because they know you're going to work really, really hard for them. But it's up to you if you believe them, because that isn't the truth. And I know I've promoted clubs, I've worked with club owners. You should do your bit, but at the end of the day, you're delivering a product, which is a great DJ set. And as long as you're doing your bit, as long as you're bringing your 5, 10, 15, 20 people a week, however many you're attracting, or 50 or whatever, then hey, job done. So yes, I agree with you, F Swift, but I think there is a limit, and the best club promoters and club owners know that, to what DJs are meant to do. Lots of you saying you're waiting for this to come out in your territory, but it's worldwide. I think they're just about to drop now. I just got on the live stream. I wish I'd been here from the start, says Andre. You can watch the replays. And also, people, if you watch the replay, if you're watching the replay now and you want to ask questions, keep asking. We will answer them. My team and I will answer them up to a few days after. So if you see this in a few days' time, it's now the 26th of May, 2019. Then we'll respond to you. Okay. All right, I think we're probably more or less done here. We've got a very, very busy day at Digital DJ Tips tomorrow because we are launching the complete DJ course. If you want to join it, join the list. It's free, and that means that you will be told about the complete DJ course. It's really exciting. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. It's the course of the book, and we've got an awesome and unmissable opening offer on this for everyone who's on our list. So time is counting down. We will line up the initial emails to everyone who is a free member of Digital DJ Tips at some point in the next few hours. So if you're on that list, you will hear about this and you'll get that opening offer. If not, you'll be waiting till the summer. So that's it, pitch over. As I said earlier, get good, get out there, make the moments. Our featured controller today has been the Denon DJ Prime 4, coming to a store near you very soon. We've been talking about how to charge what you're worth for your DJing, and maybe one day, that means you can grab yourself one of these as well if it's a dream you've got and you're not quite there yet. Or other DJ controllers, of course, are available. Right, thank you very much. I'll see you again very soon. Until then, see you later, folks. Bye.